Hello, my name's luke-thenotable, and you're watching a Fortnite video. You must be pretty bored. Well, that's okay, because in this video, we're gonna be dropping into Frosty Flights 20 times. There's a lot of planes, a lot of action, so I think we should just get started. And here we are, game number 1. At the start of Season 7, Fortnite's map got a massive update, and one of the new named locations in this snowy area was Frosty Flights. I knew there were planes here, and I wanted to be sure that I could get my hand on one. I had heard that they were making the sweats mad, so I wanted to try it out. And don't worry, in this video, we'll be going over all of the strats for Frosty Flights, so when you drop here, you'll be a pro as well. There's a ton of loot here, but the planes are sort of a hot commodity, so make sure you grab one before it gets too busy. Now, this is game 1. I hadn't had much practice with the planes, but they are fairly easy to use. It was pretty simple to start flying this thing around. These planes are fast. At idle, you're 4 times your sprinting speed, and when you boost, you go even faster. They're fairly tough, too. These planes have 800 health, which means you can soak up a fair amount of damage in the air. In this game, I was able to rotate around to haunted hills and found a couple chests that had not been looted. Or so I thought. It's okay, it was a little sloppy, but I killed him. Haunted hills provided me everything. Materials, shields, weapons. It was awesome. And then when I was ready, I just hopped in my plane and flew away from the moving storm. In a dead sprint, the planes will always outrun the storm, every time. But you're pretty loud and might attract the attention of another plane. Air battles are incredibly fun, though I did end up losing this first one. But I had a rift, so everything was fine. I didn't have insurance, so for now I was on foot. It's a good excuse to farm some mats in fatal fields. Oh, and I found a bush, so I put it on. This guy didn't seem to notice at all. I was sitting right in front of this player in an open field and he didn't think to check the bush. This was an absolutely crazy final circle, but I did manage to see some high ground that no one else had gotten to yet. And even though I fumbled with my building, I still won the game. Chug jugs to the sky. Game 2, I wanted to showcase this little house to the north of Frosty Flights. It's a great house. It always spawns a Christmas tree that can spawn up to 3 chests. And then right outside, there's an incredibly dense forest of trees which you can farm for some decent wood. In this game, we went back to Frosty Flights to try to grab a plane, but we couldn't seem to get off the ground. We'll move on to game 3, where I showcase the good loot that can be found near the solar panels outside the hangars in Frosty Flights. That's a mouthful. This guy got a mouthful too, of bullets. I also killed his life partner. In game 3, we grabbed some planes and moved to that house north of Frosty Flights. By this time, we were calling it Grandma's house. My loot was pretty good from going to these 2 areas. I had a purple scar, blue pump, and decent shields and health. And then when the storm got close, we just flew away. It's easy. While looting Viking Village, we were attacked by another plane. I was on the ground, Jake was in the air. It was an easy fight, but he destroyed my plane, so now we have to share. Ugh, that's alright. As you can tell on the screen, these planes are pretty much everywhere. You can find them in almost any location all around the map. In the final circle, being the last plane standing is a huge advantage, so it's important to destroy any other planes you see. On the ground, the moving storm is going to force players, teams, whatever, against each other, and they're gonna end up probably killing each other. While you're in the air, safe and sound. Well, relatively safe. In this game, Jake and I were able to stall long enough to make it to a 2v1 in the final circle. All we had to do was jump down and kill him. Because we could see the entire map and we were dropping in from way high up, we were able to get the best position possible. So the only other player in the match had to fight against 2 other guys in better position. He had no chance, and we won the game. Game 4, we were all busy killing, so we didn't find any planes. While slipping around on the ice, we put up a valiant effort, but we eventually all died. Maybe these white suits will help us blend in game number 5. We killed a couple players on the ground. I also had a perfect rocket block. Obviously, we both grabbed planes and went to go find some easy loot. Going for supply drops is incredibly easy when you have a plane. You can see exactly where they're going to be dropping in, and if it's in a weird location that you don't think many players are going to go to, it's easy to get. Also, you'd be surprised how many materials, weapons, chests, everything you can find on top of mountains. And no one else is going to come anywhere near you if you're on top of a mountain. It's safe, easy looting. Then when the time comes, get that altitude. I found stalling my plane intentionally way up high and gliding down is a pretty effective strategy to stay in the air longer. But remember, you gotta get those other planes when the circle's still large. Being the last plane in the end circle is a huge advantage. Maeder's plane went down, but I'm getting better at landing mine, so he was just able to jump on top. And at this point, we knew we were the last plane, so we just grabbed that altitude. Here's a pretty good strategy that can confuse the enemy. Dive bomb your plane into a structure and then get out right at the last minute. A lot of times, the enemy players are gonna think you're flying away. After we lost the element of surprise, surprise, our rockets just didn't seem to hit, but theirs did. Using the planes, we had a pretty good chance of winning that game. We didn't, but that's okay. Game 6, I wanted to show just how strong the minigun is against a plane. You can see here, I'm absolutely shredding through it. I was able to destroy the plane with just a few seconds of spraying my minigun, but the enemies came flying out at full health, swarmed me, then I died. Moving on to Game 7. I feel better about this one. In this game, no one really dropped to Frosty Flights, so we got loot, planes, health, everything, pretty easily. I flew over to Grandma's house, though as you can see, Maeder already did a good amount of farming. We were in the storm a little bit, but that's okay. The plane's fast enough to outrun it. To ensure the safety of all the creatures in this realm, Maeder threw dynamite into tilted towers as we flew by. If you have a plane, you can get into the top 10 pretty easily. But remember, in the top 10, people are gonna barrage rockets at you incessantly, and endless rockets can be pretty hard to survive. I think by Game 8, you should understand how Frosty Flight generally tends to play. It's a great place to come and get some early loot and secure a plane, at least most times. From there, the plane is so versatile you can do any number of things in a game of Fortnite. This game, we went down to Paradise Palms and found the Adobe Village mostly unlooted. We were also able to hit up the junkyard nearby for some easy gun upgrades. I don't know why, but defaults hang out in this area all the time. I guess they just feel at home in the trash. You know what we were gonna be doing. Again, textbook, we used the plane to secure perfect position in the final circle. The other players in the match had to come towards us, which gave us a huge advantage. Outnumbered and scared, this white devil went into the bottom of my structure, which I trapped, killed him, and then danced for victory. Game 9, I got a lot of cinematic shots. I generally use these for the intro and outro. It's pretty cool how many camera options Fortnite has in its theater mode, though while trying to get a nice shot of me flying incredibly close to the ocean, my plane disintegrated, and I died. Game 10, I learned about the location of 2 islands just off the coast of Frosty Flights. The only way to get to this island is drop to it initially or grab a plane. It's incredibly safe, and if you do decide to go here initially, there's always a rift hidden under the shack. I found another plane which I easily destroyed, but because of our high altitude, I stalled midair, which allowed the other player to jump onto my own plane. If this happens, send the plane into a free fall. It makes it incredibly hard to aim. Even though this guy was sitting right there, I couldn't hit him. We both bailed out, and I finished the fight with my minigun. I was a soccer skin rocking angel wings with a minigun and almost 1,000 bullets. I couldn't lose. Fighting in this icy pond next to Greasy Grove isn't my favorite activity. It's just a little difficult sometimes. And grabbing the high ground with strong mats on the only other player in the match got me the easy victory. Game 11, early on, I caught this man by surprise using this wall, but then I was surprised by a floor. Game 12, I bought this skin. I don't like it, but I supported my favorite creator, me. It's a solid investment. Let's skip to the end, you know how this goes. I perfectly dropped down in the final circle right where I needed to be, and even got a clean kill. I'm gonna be honest here, I pulled out the minigun and stayed on it a little too long. If someone's got strong mats, don't try to minigun them, it won't work. Well, that was a weird way to end the game. Oh well, second place ain't bad. Wow, game 13 was no different. I got a pretty nice drop in the final circle on top of this tree. I even had balloons for a safe landing, but of course it didn't go as planned. Game 14's the game where I verified the plane speed. I don't talk nonsense on this channel. Of course I made it to the end. When you have a plane, it's very easy to make it to Me and the missus played together for game 15, but it cuts out for no reason whatsoever. Game 16, like all the other ones, I glided into the final circle. Next time you get a chance, carry stink bombs in the final circle. It's one of the best ways to get people to absolutely lose their minds. This raggy was disoriented, died, and gave me the easy win. Game 17, final circle, no one was around. I just parked the plane, waited for the circle to move in. This got me to the absolute best spot possible, but this time there was a fight. And in the end, I never thought this rocket would kill me, but I could rest easy knowing that default was dead as well. Game 18, I caught a couple of fools messing around and I hijacked their plane, then killed the driver. A little bit sloppy, but I killed the rest as well. Yeah, we made it to the final circle with ease, no problems there, but we were faced with a 2-on-4 situation. They had a turret on top of a mountain and more players. We weren't gonna last that long. Game 19, here's another great example of us hiding the plane in Dusty Divot. Under the canopy, we figured no one was really gonna see us, and no one did. And then when the storm started to move in like every other game, we went straight for that altitude. Maeder got nervous and jumped out, so I stalled the plane and while flying down, shot rockets on top of him. Because he's my teammate, they won't hurt him, but they can hurt the players trying to kill him. Sure, it may have been a little bit careless of a play, I almost died to the storm there, but my rocket ended up getting a guy. I landed in a tree, which allowed me to get the drop on the only other duo in the game. But I was pretty injured, which allowed them to kill me pretty quickly. Maeder tried to save me, which in the end, got him lost in the storm. In game 20, I had an incredible start. All of Frosty Flights was unlooted. Of course, I took a plane and made it for better loot and land. One thing you can do to stall pretty effectively is land your plane on these little plateaus towers that are on the edge of the map. No one will ever see you down here. You can stay here forever, basically. Well, at least until the storm starts to move. I landed for a brief moment to shoot down the only other plane in the lobby, but I was attacked by a player wielding the Infinity Blade. I was able to rift out, but when I got down to my plane, I was hijacked again. Yeah, I tried to bail, but that sword definitely needs a nerf. This man won with 18 kills using only the sword. And yeah, that's it. That was game 20. Stay notable. See you in the next one. Bye.